I'm Reverend Allie Hutchinson. I'm a staff minister at Oakland CSL. My pronouns are she and they, and I will be your host tonight for our Wednesday night Oasis service. Oasis is a place where we come together midweek to get refreshed and nourished as a community, and most Wednesday night services build on the same theme we talked about the previous Sunday, sharing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal and intimate and interactive. So, our annual theme at CSL for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. And our monthly theme for February is Radical Interconnection. Last Sunday, our senior minister, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman, introduced ideas inspired by this week's theme, which is Ripples, the Art of Mindful Living. And tonight, Reverend Sunshine and our speaker will continue the exploration of that same topic. If you're new to our community or watching our recording for the first time, please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org. Click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. And once you do, you'll start getting our weekly newsletter, The Village News, which will tell you everything that you want to know about what's going on in our center. Before we get started to talk, please, if you haven't already, mute your microphone. When you do that, it'll improve the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission, and you can leave your camera on if you like. So please stay tuned through the end of the service to hear several important announcements. Tonight we have two speakers, our senior minister, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman, and she will be in conversation with Miss Grady Nobles. Miss Grady is a beloved elder in our community and a known font of wisdom. So we're especially pleased to have her here tonight. And thank you in advance. But we always start first with prayer. So one of our religious science practitioners, Emerita, Dodie Cheney Fernandez, will be doing the opening prayer for us. So I'll let Dodie take it away. And you're muted, sweetie.
Good evening, everyone. This is so delightful. And Dr. Dan, one of the writers says, God never enters our hearts and minds without an invite. So let us invite God in. I'm excited for Grady Nobles and I'm excited for Reverend Sunshine because I know this is going to be filled full of joy. So take a breath, hold it for a second, and let it go. Knowing that there is only one life, it's the life of God that is within, around, and through each of us right here and right now. And as we open ourselves to the truth of our being, we're excited about the joy of knowing that whatever needs to transpire tonight fulfills us, brings us a joy, a pleasure, a comfort. I know and expect that God moving through each of us allows us to be open and receptive to what's said, what's heard. Knowing that God moves through us with ease and grace, we're open and receptive to this evening. Right action is taking place for the highest and best. Whatever needs to come through comes through with a warmth, with an understanding, with an acceptance that God in us, as us, is us. And we're joyful. For this, I give thanks. I accept it as done, and I release it. So please affirm with me by saying, and so it is.
Amen.
You're muted, Rev Valley. Are you saying something?
I was. I was saying what a beautiful prayer that was. And we will turn this over now to Reverend Sunshine Michelle and Miss Grady.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to kick it off. Happy Wednesday, Grand Rising. And here is my visual of our theme for this year, rising higher. This is what I do when I'm on stage, right? Rising higher and growing deeper, where you extend your hands. So just, this is a nice stretch for us. Raise your hand up and rise higher. Do it now if you can. Just rise up and then grow deeper. Touch the core of Mother Earth. And you can flip hands if you want to do it the other way. Rise higher with the other hand and grow deeper. This is what we're all about here. So you're in the right place. And I welcome you. And I thank Spirit for touching me. This is probably the third time that Miss Grady and I have been together. And I curate the speakers for Oasis. And I got it in my mind that I wanted to have an elder here with me. And when I first started, which believe it or not has been, I'm going into my third year here as the senior minister. And it wasn't long that I was here where I was hearing about Gradyisms. Two things. I was hearing about Dr. Dan, which has already been referred to a couple times, right? There is a daily group that meets at noon that studies from Dr. Daniel L. Morgan Daily Book of Inspiration. It has a specific name. It's Miss Grady has it over there as Guidance for a Spiritual Journey, right? And so they meet, and they're such an intact group. Dodie, how long have y'all been meeting? Or maybe I can ask Miss Grady, how long have y'all been meeting? Do you know?
I'm not Dodie, but
4 years?
No, we're in our 5 year now.
5 years
Oh,
on one book, and they keep going and going and going. So I love it. Okay, so I got it in my mind. I'm just giving you a history. Yoni and whomever else doesn't know this. Marilyn Flowers doesn't know this. The rest might. And it came into my mind to have a conversation with Miss Grady. So we're in my office right now. I went and picked her up from her house and brought her here so that I could have the technology set up so that we could have a conversation. And after we're done, I'm gonna take her home. It's just that important to me. Not only because Spirit told me to do it and I follow, I know how Spirit speaks to me, but also because she's so adored in her community. As a matter of fact, on Sunday, I quoted her a couple times. I'm gonna do this lead in and then we're gonna have this conversation, because what we do is we riff off each other. We just have a good time talking. And I said, Miss Grady, me and you gonna talk and then we'll let the rest of the folks hear us. So that's what we're doing, right? But I wanna give it some context. So the other day on Sunday, what I mentioned is that when I am not able to be at Oasis, this service, I watch the recording. So I was watching a recording and I remember saying, I think I happened to have been leading that one. I don't speak here that often, but anyway, and I remember Miss Grady responding to something I said on that recording. And she said, this is a Gradyism, you ready? And I'm gonna put it in the chat, or Reverend Allie, maybe you can put it in the chat for me. Alignment is my assignment. Matter of fact, Ms. Grady, I said that to a fellow ministerial colleague today, and I could tell they were writing it down right away. I said, you better quote Ms. Grady. Alignment is my assignment. And it worked into this topic of ripples. That's what we're talking about tonight. Rev Allie said the name of our talk tonight is Ripples, the Art of Mindful Living. So that's what we're talking about. And alignment being our assignment, being in alignment with Spirit. And we have a real juicy one tonight, because what if you're not in alignment? So here's the next part. So in this recording, I said, well, Miss Grady, I love that alignment is my assignment. And I said, when you're out of alignment, how do you get back in alignment? What do you do? This is what she said. Actually, she said it again to me tonight. So she believes this, and so do I. And she has a question for you, by the way, too. So y'all can participate in this shortly. She said she states it out loud. She journals it. She prays it. And she just sings it. This is the way you stay in alignment. This is the way you stay in alignment, because guess what happens? You get out of alignment. I think it's a part of the human condition, right? And we were talking tonight about fear. She was saying, how do you, this is a Dodieism. Miss Grady said there's a Dodieism. And that's Dr. Dan for you, right? They each kind of say their own little great things. There's some Reverend Ikeisms. I've heard that too. Anyway, so the one that Miss Grady quotes of Dodie very often is remember to remember, which I love. I say that also in my own way, is remember who you are and whose you are. How, when you get off of alignment, how do you come back into alignment? How do you remember that? So I have some other things I could say, but I'm going to start with that, Miss Grady, because we were having this conversation tonight around something that I want you to mention, if you're willing, to the people that you got on your phone today that caused you to come out of alignment because you focused on fear. So the question I heard you ask me today is like, how do you come back onto this? And I was able to help you remember to remember, right? That you said you sing it, you pray it, you just immerse yourself in it. What was it?
Well, it was remember to remember that Dodie says. And I had forgotten that I used to have a song that I sang to myself. I don't know how I would ever forget about this, of my song, but somehow I got out of alignment with it. And over the last several days, maybe the last week, I've gotten back into it and started to, say it to myself and sing it to myself again. And so this constantly, I'm supposing that we can get bombarded with so much stuff, and it can morph into fear. And I did get a fearful what do you call it, text that said democracy is dead. And it kind of feels like it slumped to the side, and so fear got in there. And so I got into fear. And so, like, for example, last night I didn't sleep that well. I was awake most of the night, I think. And so I'm wondering how other people, what do you do when you feel that you're out of alignment, that you're off the path, that you strayed a little bit, that you're into fear? What do you do to yourself? I started singing my song again. Um, Concentrate on what you want. Concentrate on what you want. Oh, concentrate on what you want. And then making up truth statements from that. And I remember I probably have pages someplace that I've written some of these things down, but I don't know where those are at the moment. So I could just make up some now going forward. But I hear that refrain when I'm saying that, concentrate on what you want, because I feel like if I just do that, if I can remember to just do that in the moment, I'm good.
I love that. We're going to open the floor in just a moment, Rev Ali, so you can prepare to do your spiel about how people can respond. But what Miss Grady and I, when we were talking about this today, what we have in common is that I sing around the house too. And it was brought to my attention that I sing, and I wasn't even aware that I was singing, and I just make up a tune, or there's some lyrics that are in my mind, and I'm singing it over and over and over, like for hours. And then if I let it go, I forget all about it. I can't even bring the song back if I tried. So we have this song, and our people, our African American people, and I'm sure many other peoples, sang when they were in pain, when they were in grief, when they were struggling, trying to make it through. Singing was something that helped them get back in alignment and remember who they are. So this is a tool, and now we open it up to you. We're going to come back and talk some more, Miss Grady and I. But she wanted to know, she posed a question to you. So what do y'all do to remember who to remember? What do you do to be aligned?
And
We're opening the floor.
for those of you who are new, there's a, technological way to kind of raise your hand. And if you have trouble with that because of the device you're on or whatever, just wave at us. And Freddie and I will try to notice you and let Reverend Sunshine and Miss Grady know. Who would like to go first? I see Reverend Ike, yeah. And you're muted.
I remember a time when I was very depressed, and somebody had just told me that I was joy, that my real nature was joy, and here I am depressed, right? So I thought, well, I've got to get out of this. Maybe I should do something that I remember liking. So I remembered liking singing, and I was depressed. So you can just imagine, I couldn't think of a song. So I finally thought of Happy Birthday, and I sang the most dirge-like Happy Birthday you could imagine. But as I sang, my mood lifted, and I thought of other songs, and I went on, and after a half an hour, the dark mood was just completely gone. And I always remember that because it amazed me that in a half an hour, that dark, dark mood could go away. And so I'm with Reverend Sunshine and Grady. Singing does it for me too, and I'm complete.
Yeah, thank you.
I see Dodie, and you need to unmute.
I don't sing. I play music, but I don't really sing. But when I'm in a funk like that, I really like to read. Because sometimes you can read something or you go back and read something that used to lighten you, make you feel good. So that's mine. I do. I go to reading.
Beautiful. Couple more. Come on,
I see my
Sabrina.
friend Nikki Royce that shared a trip to a dog park and how beautiful that was, and also a poem that she thought of around. Are you holding it up, Nikki? Can you share it?
You're muted,
You're
Nikki.
muted.
Cursor right there, so I wouldn't have to search around. I do find that going to the dog park totally changes my mood. Yesterday, they were tearing up the pavement outside, and the machines were there, and they were dumping the stuff in the dump truck and beep beep beeping, and I was just kind of it's too much. And I went to the dog park at Point Isabel, and it's beautiful there. It's just so, yesterday was stunning. It was the perfect sunset, and all these people with their dogs are very happy and chat with you, and the dogs come up and you get to cuddle all the dogs, and it's just at every level, it's delightful. And I came home just absolutely transformed. I was happy and, felt like I belonged to this community of lovely people, and who doesn't love cute dogs? And so that's one of the things I do. And I want to say this other thing that I didn't talk about with Grady, but God, I was in my 30s, I think, teaching, and I was going to go home and visit my mother. Something was upsetting me. I was all messed up. And my friend Susie, and you all know that I'm a potter, and my friend Susie just said to me, Nikki, when your pot starts to wobble, you know how to put it back on center. And I can tell you how to do that with clay, but that's irrelevant. We all know how to put ourselves back on center, and we're sharing that. So here's the poem. This is, a lot of you will know it. It's called "A Piece of Wild Things" by Wendell Berry. And here's how it goes. Oh, and the little introduction called it, what did he say? It's Wendell Berry's poetic antidote to despair. So here it is. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. One more. I think I saw, Sabrina, did I see your hand?
Listening to all these dog stories, I forgot that I love to watch puppies playing on videos. So that's an easy, quick fix. But something that that really helps bring me out is actually visioning. And since I have the Audible book of visioning with Reverend Michael, I just go to chapter 6, put it in the middle, and just vision my way out of it. And so that helps me a lot.
Beautiful. So I want us all to, because this is a part of our spiritual practice that we're doing right now, that especially during, such turbulent times in our society, it's easier for us to get off track. Just like Miss Grady got this text that bothered her and prevented her from sleeping. And now we're here. I said, Miss Grady, but look, the very next day we're in midweek oasis. We're talking about how to remember to remember. We're talking about coming back into alignment. And personally, I feel that as humans, that's part of our human condition because we have that fear factor that, fight or flight or freeze. We have that tendency to turn to fear, but we also, it gives us as metaphysicians, as people who study truth principles, it gives us an opportunity to refocus on our faith. Even if you, just like in meditation, when your mind wanders and people say, oh my goodness, I can't do it, I can't do it. Yes, you can. You just have to refocus when you remember that you strayed away. When you know that you're focusing on fear, as soon as you remember, you can just say, oh, let me focus on faith. So this is an opportunity. So thanks for playing with us here. So I want to go back to one of the things when Miss Grady and I first started talking a couple weeks ago, when I was inspired to invite her, and I called her. And can I tell on you a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So Miss Grady says, she calls me Reverend. Well, Reverend, are you sure you want me? Of course I want you, Miss Grady. It's like, yes, because you got all these Gradyisms and people love you and this and that. But I don't know. And so for every but she gave me, I gave her something else. And then before you know it, we were laughing and talking. I said, see, we're just gonna have a good time just like this. Are we having a good time?
Yes, very
Okay.
good.
Okay, so I promise. And so one of the things that I said when I first started talking to her that day, I wrote it up here, February 4th. She said that her cousin had just had a 100th birthday and that she began reflecting on like what period she would choose to live in if she were 100. And so can you say a little bit about that?
Well, I was thinking I was going to ask someone what period they would choose. And I did call them up and ask, and they said the Harlem Renaissance period. Because yes, things were happening during that time, like lynchings and so forth, but it was a vibrant, exciting period, and things were up and coming and happening, and that's where he would choose to be. And so I was thinking of my 100 years, which would probably be 100 or 200 years beyond now. However, because this question mark had come up regarding what's going to be happening tomorrow, let alone a month or a year or 100 years from now, I caused there to be a cloud on my choice. And so I was thinking, and in going back over history, there's always something somebody pointed out to me how much was going on in World War II and the Vietnam War, how turbulent, and the Cold War, how turbulent that time was even. And so there are things going on, but how about embracing all of the exciting, wonderful things, and not embracing the troublesome things that may be appearing during that time, and just in just knowing that that God is there, God is near, God is always there, and embracing all of the goodness that there is all of the time. So that's that's what I've been struggling with for the last few days or few weeks or few months.
That sounds like something, Miss Grady, that we can do right now, because we have turbulent times right now.
Yes.
But there's a lot of good things happening right now too.
Yes, that's
and
true.
if we stay focused, if we keep focusing on love, if we keep praying into what they call that tipping point, we're gonna tip over
Right.
into that place that is the transformation, that
Right.
is the world that works for all. I think we have to believe that.
That is the world that works for all, for
Yeah.
everybody. Yes,
Yes.
that's what I want.
That's right. That's right. I love that. And I'm remembering, I don't know, I didn't say it before when you asked the question, but you know, during those times in the past, our people, our ancestors and our people, like you said, it didn't matter if they were part of traditional religion, like in Baptists or Methodists or whatever other religion. What Miss Grady said is they always had their daily word. They were reading the daily word. They were reading their Bible. They were this, you know, this is a way to stay focused. We have our daily reader. We have 2 of them this year,
Yep,
right?
we do.
Y'all have Dr. Dan.
Yes.
Y'all probably have read that book in 5 years. Y'all have read it like a couple times, right? And you use it. You know, you teach from it, you practice it, and you use
Yes.
it. This is what helps us to remember who we are and whose we are. So another book that you referenced that you brought, you see, when we do this, Miss Grady brings her stuff. Okay, she's got her notepad and her books and stuff. There was a book, that book right there. Who is it?
It's Practicing the Presence by Joel Goldsmith.
Okay, and so what about it?
Well, it just has passages in there here that help me to remember.
Okay.
And so I just like to read through it, pick up. Also, the Science of Mind magazine is a wonderful resource for me. And of course, I depend on the Guidance for a Spiritual Journey, the Dr. Dan book. But there's so much out there, and so it all helps for me to keep stepping forward and keeping my faith and belief alive and flowing. All the ripples that ripple out from all of these things count, and I'd like to have them handy and use them.
So gosh forbid democracy is dead keeps you up tonight. You have some tips and tools that we have talked about that you can pick up and use, right?
Yes.
So can you tell me what's on page 45 in Practicing the Present? Because you thought enough to mention it to me, so I'm just curious what it says.
Oh, if I can read it. Well, I'll start here. I guess as we consciously bring ourselves back day after day to the actual awareness of God as one infinite being, God manifesting and expressing itself as individual being, we understand more fully that all power flows out from us, and power acts upon us from without our own being. It must become clear to us that nothing outside of ourselves acts upon us for either good or evil, just as we have learned that the stars, the creation of God in the heavens, cannot act upon us in accordance with astrological beliefs, so we have learned that our conditions of weather, climate, infection, contagion, or accident cannot act injuriously upon those that have come into measure of understanding of the nature of God, et cetera, and of our nature of individual being. And it goes on saying, that we are. It's things like that if I pick up and I delve into it, I read it, and I allow myself to fall into it and open up to it, that I just value it. And so I found that in Science of Mind magazine. And also I've been looking over some old courses and seeing, some of the principles, beliefs, the wisdom in that, and just refreshing myself, so to speak.
I love that. And when I listen to you, Miss Grady, say that you fall into it, I've been latched on to lean in, right? Lean in. I've been talking about leaning in, but I want it on the mug. I want it on a t-shirt. Lean in and hold on, right? Lean in and hold on. That means have spirit hold on to you, and you hold on to spirit. You hold on to others. Lean in with curiosity and wonderment. That's what I hear you saying. You read that, you might wrestle with it, you fall into it, you lean into it, you hold on to it, you let it help you rise, you let it help you grow deeper, right? Yes. I love that. Here's something else you said. I don't remember when this was. That might have been tonight. That always in the ripples. Remember, we're talking about ripples. Always in the ripples. You can never be separated from the presence of God. The ripples, the waves, the ripples, you can't be separated from spirit. What makes us, and this is a question that's coming to my mind, what makes us feel separated? What do you say?
What makes me feel separated?
If you can never be separated from the presence of God, what makes us feel separated?
Donald Trump.
Ooh.
Should we ask somebody? I hear Reverend Alley laughing. What are you laughing? What are you saying?
I heard a comment from someone else. I'll let them say it if they want to.
Miss Lula.
Donald Trump.
Oh, Donald Trump makes you feel separated?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, he puts me into fear.
Okay.
Fear.
Lula, what about you?
It's like there's
Fear.
fear and love,
Oh,
and I want to be in love, and he puts me in fear, and I have to work my way back.
Yeah.
Love, because that's where my heart is, and that's where I feel wonderful.
Go ahead, Lula.
Fear. When I let myself fall into fear, that's when I feel separated. As long as I come from faith, I can listen and still keep my alignment. Still feel the connection. But the minute I fall into fear, I get this feeling in my stomach. And as soon as I feel it, I will, like Grady, I would say some affirmations, read something, or listen to music. I got like 3 or 4 songs that I listen to. I don't sing, but I listen to the songs.
Well, Lula, you as you were talking, the first thing I thought about, and Reverend Alley, I see your hand, but the first thing I was thinking about then is Miss Grady's affirmation of alignment is my assignment.
Yes.
I think those questions go together. It's like, what makes you feel separated if you feel like alignment is your assignment? And how do you come back into alignment, which is what we're talking about, right? What do we do to remember? And I've seen, heard like a lot here. So now we're cooking. We have some hands raised, Reverend Alley and then Deborah.
Well, I was thinking, like, on a spiritual level, we're not separate, and we know that. It's on our human self, having the human experience that we feel separated. So one of the things that comes up for me is community. It's like someone else is going to remember, and bringing us into community on a human level. But I have to share my quote, my favorite Ripples quote, which is Robert Kennedy. I have to emphasize this is Robert Kennedy Sr. from a speech he made in 1966. But he said, each time someone stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance.
Ooh,
Yay.
that's a
Wow.
beautiful one.
So
That's
short
beautiful.
answer is community,
Community. I
every
love that.
form of community. When
Which
I
is the which is the hold on, isn't it? Like it have our community hold on to us to remind us to remember who we are.
So
Yes.
when I was feeling depressed, I made a list of, like a couple of weekends ago when the news was getting too bad. I made a list of 10 of my closest friends and just called all of them that weekend to like either talk or set up a lunch or try to, connect somehow.
I love that
Mhm.
idea is to call all your friends. So I see Deborah and Megan, but before I go to that, Rev Alley made me think about, I gave an acronym for ripples. You gave your quote. Let me squeeze this in here now. My acronym for ripples: resilience in peace, prosperity, and love, ever more sturdy and steady.
Mm.
Resilience in peace, prosperity, and love, ever more sturdy and steady.
Mm.
Okay, Deborah.
Thank you. Um, I just have to say, that I do believe that I'm in the community where we all know that we know that we know that God is ever present, as well as the power. Because I'm looking at all my Dr. Danners on here, and I know we know. It's just that sometimes we get thrown off, and in that throwing off, we need to reach for everything Grady said, everything you said, everything everybody else said. And most definitely, I go to music, as well as I will just call a friend, or in addition to that, I'll start journaling. One of my favorite songs, and I go back to my gospels, is I Go to the Rock. And one of my favorite songs is to really immerse myself and play that over and over again, knowing that God's got my back, and
Mm.
that I can get up from I Go to the Rock and I'm flying high. And one of the things I just know is that it takes me back into something Dorothy used to say, and I don't know if she said, I ain't got time for this. Let me
Mm.
get my butt up and go and do what I got to do. And we have said it on our Dr. Dan, and once she gave it to us, as well as Grady gives us all the other isms as well. We have it, but it just takes me off a bit, and then it
Mm.
brings me back. I go to all those things to get me back on. I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Deborah.
Thank
Megan.
you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm on my iPad. So Reverend Allie, your quote made me think of Monday. So Monday was a holiday, and I walk my dogs in downtown Benicia, which is right on the water, which is something that always brings me back to just walk on the water, to be by the water. And then, the dogs are always happy to be out in the sunshine, but they were protesting. And I told my mom, what was great to see was that there were so many different people. There were like Benicia is a small little conservative, mostly conservative town. And there were people of all ages, all ethnicities. They had these very creative, funny signs about, protesting of whatever their thing that was important to them. So some people had a sign that, you know, you're not going to take away my Social Security. Other people had a sign of, you know, restoring democracy. And then I read a wonderful article that it only takes 3.5% of the population to stand up for change. That's all it takes for a protest to be successful, to really have significant change in policies and in organizations. And that to me was extremely powerful, because it feels like we're just being bombarded left and right with whatever's going on. But that 3.5% is not that much, you know. And I know the people I encounter and the people that I see and just the work that I do in the world, there is definitely more than 3.5%. So that was very encouraging. So it was turning away from that fear and just like palpably seeing that faith and these people happy and walking with their signs and taking that holiday to stand up for, you know, what they believe in, not just focus on all the crazy that's going on.
I love that. The action of it, the action, the activity, the affirmation of it. Thank you, Megan. That's beautiful. Let me see if there's anything else that don't focus on fear. Yep, we talked about that. Okay, Miss Grady, we have another 9 minutes. Is there anything else that you want to say to the people?
Well, I'm just,
as I put the microphone up to you.
I'm stuck on my song. No, I know Dr. Judith, for example, that in terms of singing, and you know, that can really belt it out there. But I have my own little sayings, and so the concentrate on what you want. I'd like it to recognize Reverend Ike, because Reverend Ike was the one that preached on feel, you know, tell your feelings how to feel. So I put in one for him. Now that now you know just how to feel, you just know exactly how to heal and things like that. I'll just make up something. I did right. I got in touch with, again, that, you know, I say things to make me remember to remember. And so I want to keep that in my spiritual toolbox and use it more often, and make up other things that have significance for me to use when I want to affirm something. And just continue to go forward and having the support of community and the interaction is wonderful. And I love that. I love participating in it. And so I just want to keep moving on the path, stepping strongly and confidently, and not letting fear get in there and knock me over again. That's what I have to say for now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just putting something in the chat, stepping strongly on the path and not let fear knock me over.
Right, yes.
I see Dorothy's hand.
Dorothy.
You're muted.
I'm sorry. What I want us to remember is that we are to be the change that we want to see, regardless of what is taking place with this new administration. Let us go forth and knowing the truth of what is taking place, that we have the power to make the change that is right for everyone. And I'm complete.
That's right. Love flows and grows and knows the truth. That's what we meditated on today. Miss Grady, what part was Reverend Ike? Now, what you said is concentrate on what you want, but then I wrote, now you know just how to feel, you know how to heal. Some of that you made up. I want to give proper credit.
Well, Reverend Ike said, tell your feelings how to feel. That was one of the statements. At least that's what I heard him saying.
Okay, and the rest was you.
And so to me, part of that is, you're telling your feelings how to feel. So you're directing your feelings. And so, and that relates directly to healing as far as I'm concerned. Because, right, it's all in that same flow of ripples.
It is. And that there's an art to that.
Yes.
Mindful living. What I said on Sunday is that being mindful is being aware, is being conscious, being mindless. It's like driving home, the example I gave, and you don't remember how you got there.
Right, exactly.
You know, yeah, so it's the ripples that we're constantly putting forth, letting it ripple out and vibrate out, right? Yeah. Yes, the art of it. Ardent, righteous, and true.
Yes.
Ardent. You know that word?
No, I don't.
You know, I know what it means, but I don't use it too much, and so but it came just as crystal clear as anything, so I needed to say it. But that's with fierceness, passion, keenness, ardent, being ardent.
Oh, okay.
Righteous, to be honest, to be genuine and true. Same for true. So when you're mindfully living, artfully, the art of doing that is to do it with keen, fierce passion and compassion and, dedication, honesty, authenticity, just bringing your whole being to it and letting it ripple out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All right. We have a few more moments here, 3 minutes. Anybody want to say anything else to Miss Grady? To me? Answer a question, ask us a question.
Grady,
Yeah.
in listening to it, I knew you were going to be on tonight and I wanted to be here and everything. And I was thinking about you. And it's kind of like what Reverend Sunshine was saying, but mine was different. It came from depth. It felt as though your growth, and that's what I'm seeing and appreciating about you, is that it comes from depth. And it kept saying, she's coming to the front, as if we say that many times when we're sick or something. Said, yeah, I'm coming to the front now, or something to that effect. And that's how I felt about your growth. So for you to say whatever you say, and it doesn't seem like it's that deep, but it has depth. So you are, and we are, we continue to expand and grow and uplift. And when you do that, it feels like some of the heavy flies off. I just think that's wonderful that I feel that for you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Jody. Anybody else?
Whew.
Going once? Going twice? Okay, so done, complete. Let me take this opportunity to thank Miss Grady Nobles. Can we give some snaps and claps and all of that to Miss Grady?
Thank you.
You can give it to me too, but I'm
here.
thanking her because I told her, I said, Miss Grady, it's pretty brave for you to trust me enough to come here and this is a big effort. And she just always says yes and believes in me enough. That's the way I take it for us to be able to come do this together in witnessing with other people. And what I said to her today is I believe that that's her healing and that's my healing. That's our healing because we leaned in and we held on and we were able to get there. So thank you everyone for coming and thank you, Miss Grady, so much.
Thank you.
Turning it back to you, Rev Alley.
I'm going to remember to unmute this time. So yes, thank you to both Ms. Grady and Reverend Sunshine Michelle. Give them a little blessing. Our announcements. all the stuff going on at OCSL. This Sunday, February 23rd, Reverend Teresa Gardner will be speaking on letting go, a new way of being together. And the meditation starts at 10, the service starts at 10:30. On Wednesday, next Wednesday at our midweek oasis, join Nancy Hester and Ron Marshall, religious science practitioner, for an encore conversation on that same topic, letting go, a new way of being together. As it was tonight, meditation is at 6:30 and the service is at 7, and that's all on Zoom. Our daily readers for 2025 that we're reading as a community are 365 Signs of Mind by Ernest Holmes, our founder, and Daily Gratitude Reflections, Volume 2 by Deborah Perdue. So please join us in following along daily. Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievement of African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. And the season for nonviolence is happening now, 64 days from January 30th to April 4th, commemorating the anniversaries of the deaths of Mohandas Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. And we have daily affirmations available on the front table in the sanctuary on Sunday. Ramadan begins February 28th. It's the most sacred month of the year in Islamic culture. Muslims observe the month of Ramadan to mark the fact that Allah, or God, gave chapters of the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad in the year 610 of the Common Era. Our nonprofit partner for January and February of this year is the Oakland Literacy Coalition. They believe that every child should have the support they need to learn to read. So visit oaklandliteracycoalition.org for more information. We welcome back Reverend Dr. Georgia Prescott on March 16th for a workshop after the service on Sunday, which is entitled Just Say No, Hell No, to Aging Gracefully. Come join us for a lively and fun discussion in the social hall. Visit oaklandcsl.org and select classes and then workshops to register. And please save the date for our Oakland CSL 80th anniversary gala celebration, September 19th to 21st this year. Other events will also be held throughout the year, so stay tuned for more information. And we are the change in more ways than you know. Please participate in our coin drive in celebration of our 80th anniversary. Bring your spare coins to OCSL and drop them in the designated collection jars in the sanctuary, ongoing for the whole year. Every small contribution adds up to big change for our community and for each of us. So together we make a difference by honoring our past and building our future one coin at a time. And thank you in advance for your participation. Our 2024 giving statements have been processed and distributed by email and snail mail. So please check your email and your US mail and your spam folder for your statement. The Spirit Treasure Bookstore celebrates Black History Month with 30% off all books by Black authors. Please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org and sign up for the weekly newsletter if you haven't already. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates. And while you're there, please like and subscribe to the Oakland CSL. And you can visit csl.org to see what's happening within our Centers for Spiritual Living global organization. So now is the time when we transition to our conscious giving. Conscious giving is many things. It's a celebration, it's an expression of gratitude, it's a spiritual practice. It's a way to put our spiritual intentions into action. In giving, we celebrate our community, we express gratitude for all the folks who gave of their time, talent, and treasure to sustain it. We acknowledge our own individual place and our community's place in the flow of universal power and abundance. and we put into action our intentions for greater experiences of abundance. So in that spirit, please follow along with me as I read our giving affirmation. And it says, joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And that was not the one for tonight. So we'll do the other one too. You want to go back, Freddie? I freely give what I have, and the divine source multiplies it in return. So we have various ways to donate. If you go to our website, click on the red donate button, it'll bring you to a page where you have all sorts of different options for checks and cash and Zelle and QR codes to give on your phone, all sorts of things. So you can pick a different one every time you want to donate. And now we'd like to show our appreciation for everyone who has offered their time, talent, and presence to tonight's service. Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman and Ms. Grady Nobles, our speakers, our meditator, Reverend Sunshine, the folks who did our opening prayer and who will do our closing prayer, Dodie and Sabrina Bolas. Ministers present include Reverend Ikea, I think that was it. And then tonight's tech host, Freddie Lambright. And behind the scenes, our administrative coordinator, Steve Carter. So now I will transition to Sabrina Bolas, who has offered to do our closing prayer. And there you go.
Thank you, Reverend Alley. And thank you, Grady and Reverend Sunshine, for such a wonderful evening. This was beautiful. I invite everyone to take a breath with me, and as I breathe into this sacred moment, into this sacred space, I recognize the infinite presence that is moving in me and through me. This presence is love, divine wisdom, and peace, unfolding in harmony. I know that my thoughts and my words and my actions create ripples of goodness in this world. And as this is true for me, I know it is true for everyone in this space and beyond. Each one of us is a vessel of divine peace and purpose. Together, we ripple out, we send out joy, we send out compassion, we send out light, knowing that our presence makes a difference in the world. And as we learn tonight, we embrace the wonderful good that there is all of the time, even during difficult times. I am so very, very grateful for knowing this. So gratefully, I release this prayer, knowing that it is already done. It is already so. And if you agree with anything in this prayer, please join me in saying, and so it is.
And
And
so
so
it
it
is.
is.
Amen. Beautiful, Sabrina. Beautiful.
So everybody can just say goodbye, say
Bye.
we're glad to see all of y'all. Good to see your faces. Thank you, Miss Grady.